The following is a sponsored program paid for by Robin Gwaltney Group-RE Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE Results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning, Andy Brownell along with Robin Gwaltney Group-RE Results. It's already Saturday, Robin. Oh my goodness, the weeks go by
They fly.
too fast. Yeah.
Especially when it's so beautiful out. Oh my gosh, it's been nice.
Yeah, that is the grand conspiracy, isn't it? Once the weather gets really warm and summer-like, then it really speeds up. You, I imagine, last weekend were crazy busy. You had the Parade of Homes and open houses. How did that go?
It was awesome. I don't know if you remember, but I was really excited about the listing that I had in Woodland because I had a nice price reduction.
Right.
And bingo, got it sold. It's gone. So that was exciting. Had a lot of people at the open house, so I was thrilled with that. Builders Parade had pretty good traffic. I don't know if our entry had as much traffic as some of them. I know my son was golfing out at Summerby, and he told me that there were a couple out there, and they had steady flow of traffic going through them. We probably had about, I don't know, a dozen or so visitors each day at our townhome. But, you know, it's just in the process of being built, so it's not a lot to look at other than you can get the feel for the layout and, you know, like the trim work is done, the cabinets are in, but there's no countertops or flooring yet or anything. So, you know, you come in, you see it, and you say, oh, yeah, this is what it looks like on the video tour, kind of. I think as it progresses, we'll get more and more traffic through there, so I'm excited about it.
Is there any timeline for that one to be ready to go?
Yeah, I think we've got about... I'm going to say we've got about 4 weeks till completion. So then it'll be really fun. Even after, I think 2 weeks from now, the countertops go in and the flooring. So after that, you know, it'll be really fun to have people come through and see it.
Yeah, that's exciting when you get to that stage of a project where you're just buttoning it up and putting the bow on it.
And it's an exciting project because it's a townhome project that's, I'm in the higher end, but not the high end. So these are in the high threes, and they're 1,530 square feet on the main with 2 bedrooms and a sunroom and 2 bathrooms, kitchen, living room, dining room. And then it does have a full basement below that could be 2 more bedrooms, another bathroom, and a big family room. So that's really nice. Gives people the option, you know, if you're downsizing but you still want room for your grown kids and grandkids to come home, there's still that option.
Or your toys.
Or your toys, or your junk, or your junk that you can't part with, whatever. Whatever you need space for.
Yeah, that's a nice sized home is what that is.
Yeah, and the next ones we're going to do, so there's actually 22 lots out there. We're in Essex Park area, you know, what's the name of that? Yeah, so I guess we would be south of Essex Park, but you know where like the big baseball complex and softball field or soccer fields and all that are?
Yep, I know exactly where you're at.
Okay, so we're right in the middle of Essex Park and that park. So
yep, just north of the park or north of the ball fields, south of the park.
You got it, yeah. And so there's just that part of the development. I think, you know, over the years, that field has been developed into a 1,400 home neighborhood or something like that. And now at the edge over in this really beautiful place. So you know where we are. We're about adjacent to where the mink farm used to be.
Yes.
You know, we can see through to there, yeah. So anyway, there's some really nice lots. Some of them are going to, you know, literally when we get to the end, back up to the park, which will be really beautiful. But there's going to be 44 townhomes, and we have about 3 or 4 different floor plans. We have some slab on grade. We have some that, like I said, have a basement. We're going to have some walkout basements, and we're even going to have a big luxury model that's going to be over 2,000 square feet. So it's going to be a fun project.
I was laughing because we were describing where this is at, and I didn't grow up that far away from there, but that was way out in the country when I was growing up.
Isn't that something? I mean, even when I was a teenager, I feel like 37th Street was the end of Rochester.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it's like after that, that was the country.
That was a 2-lane country road.
Yeah, you're probably actually younger than I am, so I better not even talk about that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you get to a certain age, you're all the same age.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody asks, nobody cares.
Old and knowledgeable, right?
You got to throw the wisdom in there as well, Rob. You got to get that in there.
Yes, exactly.
Well, yeah, the open houses last weekend. That was kind of the big weekend under the, what is it called, Stay Safe Minnesota plan. Now, I imagine we're at the weekend again and you have more open houses.
Yes, I personally do not, because I have clients that I need to find a home for, so I'm going to be out showing houses this afternoon, but I do have several of my team members holding houses open. So, yes, again, it's becoming more and more back to normal, and people come into the open houses, and at the Builders Parade, it was a requirement everybody had to wear a mask. At the other open houses, I wore a mask, and I just let people decide for themselves. And I would say it was about 3 out of 4 wore a mask.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of jives with what I see out and about as well.
It's harder to wear them in the heat, though, isn't it? Ugh. It's a little harder to breathe.
It's but then you're outdoors, so it's not nearly as important when you're outdoors to have that.
Right. Right.
So we're seeing more economic recovery. Yesterday, the news came through that the jobs are starting to come back.
Yes, that's so exciting.
Surprised a lot of economists that it was as strong a showing as it was.
Yeah, one of our sons that we raised at the RBC house works at the Mayo Clinic in the pharmacy, and he actually volunteered to take the full furlough. He said, I can handle it. I'm a single guy. I don't have bills. Let these young families who have kids and, more payments and stuff work. So he volunteered to be the last one called back, and he's actually called back as of June 19. So,
yeah, good news.
Yeah, it's good news. Things are moving in the right direction. In some aspects, there's lots of turmoil in the world. That's for darn sure. But as far when we're regarding COVID, things are moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I was looking at the statistics yesterday as we went to the end of the week, and for the state of Minnesota, the number of people hospitalized now has been on a steady downward trend for over a week.
Wow.
So that is one of those indicators that you're really, really happy to see. That kind of gives you a suggestion that it's not just our perception. It may actually be reality that this thing is ebbing as we head into the summer. So,
and maybe there's something to be said for herd immunity, because, I was very concerned, and I'm sure a lot of people were, about, all these protests and what's this going to do to our numbers when it comes to COVID. So I'm happy to see it's not causing huge spikes.
A lot of those folks I saw, at least from the TV coverage, were wearing masks.
Oh, yeah, they were, absolutely. I agree. Yes, I agree.
And outdoors as well. So
true.
Yeah. So certainly the predictions of an upswing this summer and your predictions of a much hotter real estate market seem to be coming to fruition.
It'll work just fine if we get some inventory. We are so low on inventory. I mean, honestly, I think I got the weekly stats, and when it talked about inventory of homes for sale in the Rochester area, we are literally at, from what I can tell by these peaks, either an all-time low or just a hair above 2018. But we are down 18.6% of where we were last year, and we didn't exactly have an excess amount of inventory last year.
That's interesting. You think it's still the idea that people are holding back their homes because... I hope
so. I hope we'll see. And some of them maybe, because they took a cut and pay or they were furloughed for a while, say, maybe this isn't the year to move up to our dream home. So I just hope people are factoring in what the power of that low interest rate does and what a difference that makes in the payment, et cetera. So I just can't get that message out there loud enough that, you might want to talk to somebody if you're even thinking about it, because you might be pleasantly surprised by what you hear.
Okay, well, maybe we'll talk a bit more about that when we come back, but we do have to take a very brief break. We'll be back with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back, Andy Brownell, along with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results here at News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. We mentioned the interest rates, Robin. I haven't looked since we talked last week, but last week you were talking about folks locking in at under 3% on 30%, 30-year mortgages. Are we still seeing that?
Yeah, we're still seeing that. So, yeah, the rates are just phenomenal. I mean, I guess I didn't even understand until I got, really into real estate and really saw rates fluctuate on just how much difference the percentage of your interest affects your house payment and how much more buying power it gives a person when those rates are down. So it's funny because, I preach this stuff. I always have, right? And my kids grew up listening to this. So about a month ago, I guess, my daughter and her husband bought some land out in Orinoco with the plan that maybe in 5 years they would build there. So the other day I was at their house and my son-in-law started giving me my own medicine. Maybe we better build sooner rather than later with the interest rates being as low as they are. It was a tough argument.
And you said, you were listening.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh boy, how does this involve me? But anyway, no, the truth is that the rates, when the rates are low, it's extremely beneficial to buyers, whether you are buying your first house or you are moving up to your dream home. The amount of buying power you get for the same budget it's phenomenal. It's really impressive, and I feel like if anybody out there is even considering buying, whether it's their first home or the move-up home, it is time to have a serious conversation with the lender and just see what those numbers look like. So if anybody would like to do that but doesn't have a relationship with a lender that they feel comfortable having that conversation with, I would be very happy to pair you up with someone. So certainly reach out, and I'm happy to put you in touch with a lender who could walk you through that and what that looks like.
I'll give you an illustration of how wild this is and what you're talking about. We moved into our home. We're strange. We've got deep anchors, right? So we've been in this house now for 30 years. So 30 years ago, when we built, the interest rate, and we thought this was really fantastic, 9.5%. We were like, wow. Well, just a year or two before
I know,
it was crazy high.
Yeah.
And so we thought, wow, we better lock in before rates go back up. A very modest home in a modest neighborhood. Well, I'll tell you, back then, this was before the building boom began in Rochester. The homes we're dealing with in this neighborhood were under $100,000.
Sure.
Right. So what you're talking about now, the way you've described it to me, a home of $300,000 to $400,000 with this 3% or below 30-year mortgage interest rates, the monthly payments are what we were paying on monthly payments 30 years ago.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I'm just so excited. I love when these young buyers especially buy their first home and we get locked in at these great rates and they say, oh my gosh, my payment with my taxes and my insurance is cheaper than my rent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and at the same time, every single month when you make that mortgage payment, it's like making a deposit into your savings account because you have something to show for that money that you're putting out each month, which is super exciting.
Yes, it is. And there's also I think there's a psychological effect, too, to home ownership. It
empowers you, of course.
Exactly. That's a great way to describe
it. Yes, absolutely it does. Absolutely. And I think it gives people great pride. And some people, you can see it because you'll drive past their homes and they're meticulously maintained. I actually just sold one last week and I was I was so impressed from the minute I got out of my car. I was like, oh, wow, these homeowners love their home. And it was pristine inside and out. And it's a single gal that lived there. And she just took such nice care of the exterior, the lawn, the interior. And it's so nice when people take such pride in their home and maintain it, because let's face it, our homes are the biggest investment most of us will ever make in our lifetime.
You bet.
And the majority of our wealth is going to come from how well we did investing in real estate. Okay, so when people retire, what they're depending on, for their livelihood is the equity that they've built in their home. So it's so important to take that account, if you want to call it that, and just protect it and make it worth as much as it can be worth by keeping it nice and maintaining it and, keeping it in excellent condition so you can get your max dollars. That particular lady sold her house for exactly double of what she paid for it.
While she had the service of living in the home the entire time.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was her shelter, her home. She created a lot of warm memories there, and now she's retiring, and she's walking away with a very nice nest egg because the house is long paid for.
I've heard that argument before where some folks who are not proponents of home ownership will try to argue that, well, if you look at, you spread it out over that many years and the percentage of growth over that many years isn't that much better than the stock market. And I go, yeah, but...
You don't live in the stock market.
I would have had to be paying rent on top of that in order,
right.
You got to factor that into the equation. And you guys always forget that part of that when you describe that.
Right.
You have to live somewhere. You need a roof over your head.
And if you can live somewhere and at the same time use it as an investment and, grow your wealth, how perfect is that?
It's certainly something that needs to be thought about. I've observed myself that I remember when the millennials first came into adulthood, and the talk was they were going to all live in high-rise apartment buildings or, higher density housing in downtown areas, and as if now that they're getting a little older and they're getting to the kids are starting to go to school, and you know what? They're all looking at buying homes. Not all.
Yeah.
At least in my experience, those that I know well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. They come around. They realize, what am I going to have to show for it? Yeah, this is a really fancy, nice place, and I've got beautiful stainless steel appliances that no one else has used, and fancy quartz countertops, and a pool, and a golf simulator, or whatever, all those features that I have. But I'm spending $3,000 a month to have this, and in the end, what am I going to have to show for it? And then I think I was just speaking to one of the young doctors that I'm helping buy a house. He thought this fancy place that he was living was going to be so great, and he said, the truth is, I don't have the time to use any of those amenities anyway. And what I really want is just some peace and quiet and solitude when I get home from the busy, hectic time at the hospital.
Yeah, home. That's a great way.
Yep.
All right. Robin, we have to take a quick break already. We'll be back, and we'll continue chatting with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE Max results in just a moment on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE Max Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back, Andy Brownell, along with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE Max Results on this Saturday morning, News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. We spent a lot of time a few moments ago talking about the investment aspect of owning that home, and it's certainly, I know when we were looking for homes, it was all about how that home's going to meet our needs as a family.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
You do have to think about more than just that, though, right?
Well, I think a lot of times what happens, and especially, again, when we're talking about people buying their first home, buyers really are looking at where are we going to love to live? Is this where we want our kids to go to school? Does this have the fenced backyard that we need for our dog? Does this have the attached garage so we're not freezing cold when we go to get the baby out of the car? Those kind of things.
Yeah.
And so I always tell my buyers, I think it's really important that you focus on all the things that you want as far as a place to live. And while you're doing that, I'm going to focus on whether or not this is a good, sound investment. And if you ask me, how do I do that? I just look at, is this a neighborhood where values continue to go up? Or is this a neighborhood that's maybe being, sucked in by commercial? We have a way of looking at which properties are increasing in value and what rate, because we have all of that data available to us, right? And then also, what features in the home are going to be resellable and make the house, a hot commodity when it comes time. Now, you've heard me focusing on the low inventory, so kind of a moot point right now because everything's a hot commodity, when we have such low inventory. But sometimes when the market is not quite as tight as it is now, there are certain houses that are always going to bring top dollar, and my experience has taught me which one of those houses are. So I really take a lot of pride in the fact that I help people, especially people that I know are only going to live in the house, 4 to 6 years. And we know that because they're coming to Mayo to do residency or fellowship, and they know coming in that chances are they're going to leave, but even if they are invited to stay on staff, chances are they're going to move.
Yep.
Okay, they're going to move up. So I want to make sure that when someone is buying a house, that I'm their professional consultant, helping them make a good financial investment and protecting them so that, I do think of myself in a lot of ways as more of a financial consultant when it comes to buying real estate than I just do I hate the word salesperson because I don't ever sell anybody anything. I guide them and help them make good decisions. Have I ever asked you one time, hey, Andy, would you like to buy a house? Would you like to sell a house? That is not my style at all. And I'm here to guide people to be their professional real estate consultant and help them make really good choices when it's time to buy a house or sell a house.
You mentioned the medical professionals in this town, and we do have that transient population. It's kind of what the engine that makes the thing run. But I think that's probably the experience for the vast majority of people. That first home isn't going to be their last home.
No, exactly. And if you do it right, by the time you've bought your third or fourth home, you're going to have a very small mortgage. So, there is definitely a method to this, and there is a way to build wealth through real estate. And I know a lot about that, and I'm happy to guide people in that process.
So it's more than just the nice white picket fence, and for me, the massive garage. You have to look at
you boys.
That is the first question, though, isn't it? All the men ask, how big is the garage?
Yeah, a lot of men go right for the garage door. It's so funny. We'll come into the foyer, and before I even notice they're in the garage. But hey, it's whatever, I guess makes you tick.
I suppose the other one is the kitchen, isn't it?
Yes, people love kitchens because, let's face it, we all gather around the kitchen. You know that. No matter if it's you and your kids or you and your friends or your neighbors, everybody seems to gather around the kitchen. So that's a big focal point for people.
And you mentioned location. I imagine if you were a person who was buying a home as an investment, not a home, that you'd want to be near those places where commercial is expanding.
Yeah, there's definitely some truth in that. So it depends on what the purpose of your purchase is. And that's why I say I like to serve as a consultant, so I can help you meet your needs in the best way and make the best decision that's going to benefit you, financially, for sure.
Yeah, and to retain your investment and hopefully make a sizable return when the time comes to sell, as you pointed out, because then their next mortgage is going to be that much smaller.
Absolutely.
Well, if you want to talk with Robin, maybe if you have a home you're thinking about selling.
Please call me.
You are probably the most popular person in the world right now if you're in that place.
Yes.
So, yeah, or if you want to chat about anything going on with real estate, your home, your investment, how do we get a hold of Robin Gwaltney or any member of the Gwaltney Group?
Absolutely. So definitely if you want to learn more about the Gwaltney Group, you can check out our website at gwaltneygroup.com. Or if you would like to reach out to me and talk to me regarding anything with real estate, my cell phone number is 507-259-4926.
Well, Robin, you have a fantastic week.
It's going to be a busy weekend, and I'm enjoying this weather, so talk to you next week.
Yeah, very good. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results, News Talk 1340, KROC AM at 96.9 FM.